Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway. Yeah, we had street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit. We had street dreams. Street dreams. Yeah, we had street dreams. Guess whoa, Getty's on my chest, whoa. All about my check, whoa. Nigga, this ain't checkers, this is chess, whoa. Put one in my head, cause I played it up this fast, whoa. Look, these bullets generous, gangsta and a gentleman. Feeling like I'm SP, I don't deal with middlemen. Bosses, I'm on bosses, chrome hearts mixed with crosses. Smoking palm leaves, while reflecting on these losses. Street dreams turn to nightmares into street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit. We had street dreams. Street dreams. Yeah, we had street dreams.
Being Pablo, dreams of being Chapo. Never expected this though. Lost a couple homies, stuff fucking with my mental. I ain't never cried so much in a year. Skipping red lights, nigga, you won't leave me here. Mind playing tricks on me, we make it clear. 40 stuff in the mind clear, ain't no fear. Street dreams always turning nightmares. Street dreams always turning nightmares.
Street dreams. Street dreams. Put my life on the line for this shit. We had street dreams. Street dreams. Yeah, we had street dreams.
Too much fake love, snake you in your face, love. Too much fake love, snake you in your face, love. I ain't showing no feelings. I ain't showing no feelings. Yeah. Homie called my phone, he told me, go hard with this rap shit. Lately I be going crazy, feeling like I'm bad shit. My men in the gutter, all these bitches want me crack shit. Niggas talking down on me, they don't want me had shit. Try to stay legitimate, I'm back on this trap shit. Try to run up in the crib, strike and made him backflip. Reals who call my phone, I know he hurt, but he act tough. Bitches try to line him, we gon' find him, make him give it up. Bro told me I did enough, but really we ain't did enough. Tryna turn my city up, they tryna take my life from me. They tryna take my life from me. That's why I keep this pipe on me. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God, bro. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God, bro. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God, bro. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God, bro. I ain't showing no feelings. Weak emotions is expression. That's a reason to kill him. On the side with your feelings, but I got angels with me. And some demons that's gon' blow him, but I pray he didn't. See my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jail. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. Yeah, the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Peace, 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 peace. Peace, love, and light to everybody that's in the building, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. This is your brother, Aboriginal Power. So if you're tuning into the live stream, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Very important for you guys to subscribe to the channel. I got a very, very interesting build that I'll probably be doing a part 1, maybe even a part 2 or 3 series. 2 is pretty lengthy and there's a lot of data information to get into. So before we get into that, I want to make sure everybody is all right. Just tap it in. Greetings to everyone that is tuning in. Please drop a fire emoji in the chat. That lets me know that you guys can hear me loud and clear. Also, I would like for you guys to share this on all your social media outlets. Hey, pick at least 2 of them of your choice to share that, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, or TikTok. Follow me on all social media outlets. For Instagram, go follow me at big_Aboriginal_power, right? That's big underscore. It's on the screen, by the way. That's big_Aboriginal_power. Make sure y'all go tap in, support the channel. Go follow me on TikTok at Aboriginal Power. You can also go follow me on Twitter at Power Aboriginal. Make sure you go follow me at Power Aboriginal. Make sure y'all support the channel. Don't forget, man, the $5 challenge is still in effect for all Aboriginal platforms. Hopefully you guys went over there and supported Aboriginal TV today, supported Chief Holiday last night, and Big Dog Philly OG earlier this evening. So shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all supporting the movement, man. We can't do shit without y'all. I want to leave this inside y'all brain. We all we got. So if you're looking for outside sources to come help, to have the benefit and the same goals and the same intentions as you probably gonna fall short. We are all we got when it comes to this, and I mean us by our kinfolk, our stock, our lineage, our bloodline. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody who's tuning into this live stream across the globe, who's gonna be here for the information. Before we get into that, I also want to shout out some of the brothers and sisters that's in the chat that took their time out to come chat with me. So, and to come rock out with me. So shout out to you guys. Also shout out to the brothers and sisters that's not able to get into the comment section because you're busy traveling, working, whatever it is. Peace and blessings for those that are just listening in. I also want to, so let's get the shouting out some of the family that's in here getting active. Drop them fire emojis in the chat, man. Y'all know the vibes. Shout out to Trap Moses. Trap Moses in the building. Shout out to Lydia Charles. Shout out to Poker True. Roger W, Big Dog Philly OG. We got T in the building. Never Hungry again. Is Dario, J Rock. Shout out to all you guys, man. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in, man. I don't want to get straight into it. I want to allow some of the brothers and sisters to come on into the building. We all been told by Western education in every different form, from cinematics to TV shows, even into your Western education or what we call educational standards today, often talk about slavery. They talk about various different forms of slavery, whether it was coming from Africa, unservitude, involuntary force, all types of slavery. We've seen it from movies from Django to Jonestown and everything in between. But what you rarely see illustrated in cinematics or in film is white slavery. And what's peculiar and interesting about how they never talk about that history is because white slaves was the first slaves here, and that's documented. We're going to get into the untold history of white slaves, the first slaves in America, on America's shores. And they arrived on the shorelines in Virginia roughly 2 to 3 years before so-called Negroes landed as slaves in those same areas in Virginia. How many of y'all knew that white slaves were the first slaves in America? Now, this is history. This is Black History Month, so everything is valid. We must teach a reform and a true, accurate depiction of what history and slavery was like. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. All right, so shout out to everybody that's in here. Are y'all familiar with some of this? Are y'all familiar? They told their history of slavery, but they weren't called the Little Rascals. But they were called the Little Rascals. Right, right, right. That ain't a true depiction of their slavery. And oftentimes, white slaves got treated lesser than any other known slave that ever been documented on the planet. Oftentimes, pale-skinned slaves that have arrived from Europe and Britain and England and various different nations will often be beaten, working to death here in some of the colonies in Virginia. So we're gonna get into some of that before we get into some of the literature. Shout out to everybody that is in the building. Hopefully, you guys are supporting the channel. I want to go to this one particular book. This is the 6th chapter in the book Forgotten Cause of the Civil War. This is chapter 6. Let's see if I can zoom in on this just a little more for you guys. We're going to be able to rotate that. But this particular dialogue is going to be dealing with white slaves. This book is called The Forgotten Cause of the Civil War. This book is very expensive. I will probably provide this for you guys. And if you already have this book, you go to chapter 6, and we're going to go to the chapter 6 where it deals with the new white slaves. And I want to try to get into some of the literature before we ultimately get into that. So that's what we're dealing with, the forgotten cause of the Civil War. Which is a good book. Hold on just a second, you guys. Sorry about that, you guys. Had to mute up. So, as we see right here on the screen, forgotten cause of the Civil War. Let's flip this photo around. This is emancipated Negroes, emancipated white people. Slavery. Let's see if we can get this image on the screen. 125. Perfect. So this is image of emancipated slaves, white and colored. Notice they don't call them black. Notice they don't call them African. Notice they don't call them Negro, right? Slaves, emancipated slaves, white and colored, from Harper Weekly, January the 30th of 1864. A few hundred years from this date today. All right. In this book, Forgotten Cause of the Civil War, it goes into a hell of elaboration how pale skins came here during a certain time frame. They were enslaved. The ones that didn't made their way out to the West Coast to try to seek better lifestyle and ran into a depression. They lived in tents and camps and various different miscellaneous things that they lived in during those particular areas, which we're going to get ready to pull up some of those images as well. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. So yeah, man, look, you see this shit all over the place. White slaves beating another white slave while a black man is holding a dog on him. Pretty sure we seen these illustrations. Listen, pretty sure we seen some of these. We also have various of them being sold out. This is in Jamestown. Convicted wife, a female convicted, transport from an English prison to Jamestown, Virginia, as an indentured servant, sold to a sold for a wife to make a settler for 100 pounds of tobacco, wood engraving. So she got sold for 100 pounds of tobacco. This is documented history as well. I want you guys to be able to catch some of that on the screen. We got some images of some pale skins in the late 1900s coming over here. Look at these indentured servants being ushered by black slaves. We can see some of the black slaves right there. Not black slaves, but workers. You see they got hard hats on. Most of the hard hat workers are some type of minority. You see some cotton pickers right here on the screen. Some pale skinned cotton pickers. Shout out to everybody in the building. These are the true cotton pickers. This is how you get the term redneck. These was usually referred to uh European, British or Irish slaves that was working in the fields, and they will refer to them as redneck because by the end of the day's work, their neck will be totally burnt and sunburnt, and sore to the touch. That's how they get the name redneck. That's how they get the name redneck. 100,000 of pale skins coming in the late 1800s to America by the millions. Millions of pale skins coming to the Americas. Millions and millions of pale skins coming to the Americas in the late 1800s. Shout out to everybody in the building. Drop a fire emoji in the chat if y'all here with me. Here go more images of pale skins living in concentration camps throughout the West Coast. And you see camps and tents as far as the mouths can see, almost similar to what teepees is. So when Native Americans and Europeans all made their contract called the Know Nothing Party, it wouldn't have been too far-fetched or too far from their own culture to live in teepees, much like the Indians and the Red Cross and the Native Americans got done. So these are pale skins in the West Coast living in tents or teepees, if you will. Make sure y'all support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information at the bottom of the screen. Shout out to Roger W. Always supporting the channel, man. I gotta say, you always support the channel, Roger. I've been probably shouted your name out 8 days in a row, 7 days in a row. Shout out to Roger W for supporting the channel. Man, shout out to Roger W, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Don't let Roger W be the only one to support the channel. He literally supports almost every day. Shout out to him. Appreciate you, brother. So let's get to some more. This is some literature we can get into. Just arrived in York River, the brilliant Captain Miller from London with a cargo of choice, healthy indentured servants to sell, for which he began at Richmond Town on Wednesday, the 25th of May, right? Among whom the following tradesmen: blacksmith, burfers, edge tool makers, bricklayers and pliers, shoemakers, stone muffins, carpenters, joiners, and cabinet makers, cloth weavers, stocking weavers, barbers, and peruke markers, gardeners, farmers, laborers, harbormen, bookkeepers, school teachers, tailors, and various different other nations. I will then sell them cheap for ready money or tobacco, and therefore on credit. Bond and security will be required. So these motherfuckers was selling these motherfucking white people, and oftentimes they wasn't even getting cash for it. Nigga be like, man, we don't even know we won't pay for this. They like, fuck it, we'll give it to you we'll just give it to you. And if you like it, if you get some work done, pay us on the back end. They will put that in contracts. This is how the first credit came by way of shipping and selling and giving away pale-skinned slaves. This was a form of credit. This was a form of old bartering. which goes back to a trade system. So that's what you ultimately got going on right there. There go a couple hundred more indentureds or pale skins freshly arrived in the early 1900s. In the West Coast, they didn't even have a gazebo or tents. You understand me? Tight sound. What do you mean, brother? What book am I reading out of right now? Can you tell me? This ain't a book that I'm reading right now. This is the slides, me elaborating on these slides. And if you notice and look at the, not everybody look pale. Not everybody look European. Let's pay attention to that. Look at this. Hundreds of thousands of pale skins. And they ain't even got no gazebo. They don't have no tent. They just out there living. They just out there living. They don't know what they want. Oh, my bad, Tyson. I already know you was, big bro. I just want to make sure. Shout out to you. Because these niggas be goofy out here. Go on, get them in line. We ain't doing stupid today. We're going to get to white slavery. Here goes some more pale skins living outside their TP huts and shacks. Here they go. And this is how they was living in the early 1900s, but they're also been credited to being some of the most sophisticated people and builders and bringing what we call civilization to the world, to what we call the American standard, which is almost the standard across the world, across all nations. They giving it credit to these vagabonds who couldn't even put together a nice shack for them to eat in. They eating outside. They have a tent that they all will be sleeping side by side in. No offense. Shout out to these people. They are living life great now. They shave and they live in houses. Nice houses. Some of them. But this is just the history of slavery. This is nothing to... All right. I got some more literature on the screen. American colonies in 1619 where 100 white children were from 100 white children from Ireland, first slave imported into the American colonies were 100 white children in 1619. It's funny that they told you that your ancestors came here in 1619. Little did they tell you that their ancestors, the slaves, the true slaves, the first slaves of America came here in 1619, roughly before that. We'll get to that in just a second. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Don't let, like I said, don't let Roger W. be the only one support the channel. All right. Cash out. Information at the bottom right of the screen. It said white children in 1619, 4 months before the arrival of the first shipment of black slaves. Many were brought from Ireland, where the law held them was no more sin to kill an Irishman than a dog or other brute. All right. King James followed, talked about the 500,000 slave enslavers in slavery in the 1600s in the plantations of the West Indies, Antigua, Jamaica, Barbados, and various different islands in between. This is a 17th century photo. I mean, no, this, I'll take it back. My bad. In the 17th century, from 1600s to 1699, there were many more Irish sold as slaves than Africans. Right? So Africans was getting outsold. They was getting outsold by the white. You know, what we're dealing with is a false illusion of history. History has been recanted to us for a way of propaganda to be inserted. History has been alluded to a form of demoralizing and taking away a sense of pride, and it almost forced victimhood upon us. And it's an insert. And this victimhood that we have, this shame, this doubt, this horrible feeling, this it's an insert into your history. When you understand that Negroes and people that was classified as so-called Indians enslaved white slaves here on this land in America. They enslaved white people right here in America. Did y'all know that? How many of you guys knew that? We'll get to some of that literature in just a second. Might as well put that on the screen now. Let's see where we can go with it. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Make sure y'all support the channel. Shout out to G's off that Scully Punch for the Cash App donation. Sent in a $5 Cash App donation. We appreciate that, G's. We really appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Support the channel, you guys. Support the channel. We all we got. If you ain't going to support the channel, I mean you, the 122 people in the chat. I know y'all like, who? No, you. I know you listening. Support the channel, you know. If you ain't going to support it, who is? You know. Let's continue reading. There were two sorts. First, such as we brought over by the master's ships to be sold as servants, such as we call them the deer, such as ye say. But they were more properly called slaves, Daniel Defoe. This is the history of white people that has never been told in any coherent form, largely because the most modern historians have a reason to politics and psychologically refuse to recognize white slaves in the Americas, in early America, as just that. Okay. Today, not tear is shed on the suffering of millions of our own enslaved forefathers. 200 years of white slavery in America has been almost completely obliterated from the collective memory of the American people. Okay? So white history has almost been eradicated. Who wants to be reminded that half, perhaps as many as thirds, of the original American colonists came here not of their own free will, but kidnapped, imprisoned, duped, beguiled, yes, in chains. We tend to gloss over it. We prefer to forget the whole story, the whole sorry chapter. Elaine Kendall of Los Angeles Times of September the 1st of 1985 said, a correct understanding of authentic history of the enslavement of whites could have profound consequences for the future of races. So that's just the prelim. We ain't even getting in. This is just giving an opening statement. You see what I'm saying? This is just giving an opening statement. It's going to get into the history of white slaves of America and all that. You know, it's going to get into that. It's going to get into all that. That's why we got to really pay attention to what we're dealing with when we're dealing with some of this history. All right? Shout out to everybody in the building. I hope everybody's vibration is up. Shout out to Leonardo, aka Big Dog Philly OG, for the Cash App donation. We really appreciate that, brother. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Make sure y'all in the chat show the brother Big Dog Philly OG some love, and the rest of the brothers like G's and my other brother who supported the channel, Roger W. Shout out to Roger W. Make sure y'all show all of them brothers some love in the chat. We really appreciate the support. One good deed rubs off on another one to do another good deed. That's true. That's very true. All right. So let's get back to the story of slavery. We're not done. White Slavery in America by David Byrne Davis, ranked in New York Times Review Books in October 11th, 1990. As late as the 14th and 15th centuries, continued shipments of white slaves, some of them Christians, flawed with the booming slave market of the northern Black Sea coast, into Italy, Spain, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. From Barbados to Virginia, colonists showed few scruples about reducing their less fortunate countrymen to a status little different from that of chattel slaves. The prevalence and the suffering of white slaves, sufferers, and the indentured service in the early modern period suggests that there was nothing inevitable about eliminating limiting plantation slavery to people of African origin. So in other words, they said it would be impossible for them to just limit slavery to one demographic of people. So slavery wasn't race-based at this time, right? According to L. Ruchams, the source of racial thoughts in colonial America, stated that the slave trade worked in both directions, with white merchants as well as black merchants. Meaning there was white people bringing white slaves, and there was black people bringing white slaves. Are we clear on that? In the English Parliament debate practicing the selling British whites into slavery into the New World, in the debate, the whites were referred to not as indentured servants, but as slaves, whose enslavement threatened the liberties of all Englishmen, Thomas Burton of the Parliament Diary of 1656 said. Right? So these are various different statements talking about how later on, even though we need this uplift, we need this economic boost, it could look bad for certain workers. It could look bad. All right, so let's get into it. Let's move down a little bit. We're gonna get into some other parts of this whole story. Shout out to everybody that's in the building too, man. I need y'all to thumb up the video, support the channel, right? And the calendar of the State Papers Colonial Series of America and the West Indies, we read of the protest over the encouragement of the spiriting away of English without their consent and the selling them for slaves, which had been a practice very frequent and known by the name of kidnapping, and phrase added, emphasis added on kidnapping, right? In the British West Indies, plantation slavery was instituted as early as 1627. In Barbados, by 1640s, there were an estimate of 25,000 slaves, whom of them 21,700 were white. Okay, so out of 25,000 slaves, 21,700. We'll just round it off to 22. 22,000 would have been white slaves. Okay, that's according to this documentation, and this is the book called "They Were White and They Were Slaves." Okay, the observation on the island of Barbados in the Calendar State Papers Colonial Series, it was worth noting that while white slaves were worked to death, noting that while white slaves were worked to death in Barbados, there were Carib Indians brought from Ghana to help propagate native foodstuffs, who were well treated and received as free persons by a wealthy plantation owner. So even the wealthy plantation owner understood that you can't really enslave the wild Indian. We better off getting them work for us and let them walk around free. Beat the white ones to death, let the Negro ones free, especially the Indian ones, right? Especially the Indian ones. Yeah. So listen, I'm not. I wish I was saying this. This is not me. This is the literature that states this. So, I'm just reading the history, the untold truth of white slavery in America. Can we continue, you guys? All right. It said, in fact, the wealth of Barbados was found on the backs of white slave labor. There can be no doubt white slave laborers from Britain and Ireland were the mainstay of the sugar colony until the mid 1640s. There were few blacks in Barbados, right? Meaning what? What is confusion on the word black. We get to that in another note. There were few blacks in Barbados. George Downing wrote to John Winthrop in the colonial government of Massachusetts in 1645, right? That planters who wanted to make a fortune in the British West Indies must procure white slave labor out of England if they wanted to succeed. And this is from Elizabeth Donnan, Documents Illustrated of the History of the Slave Trade to the Americas. Indentured servants were employed and treated incidentally exactly like slaves. This is from Morley Ayster, the British West Indies. You can go to page 19 for that. Many graduations and unfreedom amongst white made it difficult to draw fast lines between any idealized free white workers. In the pit or scorned several black workers. In the labor short 1700 and 18th century America, the work of slaves and the white servants were virtually interchangeable in most areas. So when you say white servants and white slaves, it was interchangeable, right? And this according to the wages of whiteness, race, and the making of the American working class, right? So let's get into it. The Massachusetts Court of Assistance, whose records date to the 1633, we find in 1638 description of a white man, one named Giles Player, as have been delivered up for a slave. Okay. In English, William Edison, observing white slaves in America in the 1770s, wrote, generally speaking, they groan beneath a worse than Egyptian bondage, right? Meaning white people, right? Governor Sharp of the Maryland colonial compared the property interests and the planters and their white slaves with the estate of the English farmers, consisting of multitude of cattle, or them to having livestock. This is where the word livestock came into place. So they was having livestock on their panels. Shout out to everybody in the building. I want to make sure I'm just tapping back in because I'm reading. I'm not able to look at the chat. So I want to say peace and bliss. I'm going to take a quick break in reading. I'm going to grab me something to drink real quick. So just bear with me. Bear with All right. So yeah, how y'all feeling, man? If y'all can hear me, drop a fire emoji, please. If you have not supported the channel, support the channel. Have y'all ever heard of this book? Are y'all familiar with this book? They were white and they were slaves. If you're not, I will give that to you guys. I will leave it in the comment section, or I will leave it in the description box. Or I might put that motherfucker in there right now so y'all can read along with me. Depends on how y'all feel in the chat. Y'all let me know. But yeah, like I said, I also want to light my backwood up. So let me do that. It's hard to light a backwood up and read to you guys. And I've been taking my time out, not letting other videos do the work, which there's no problem with the videos doing the work. But I feel like I'm able to illustrate and get off what I want to say more or less better than when someone else is saying it. All right. So let me put this book in the chat for you guys. I do want to give you guys this book. And this book is often restricted. So I'm going to copy the link for you guys. And I'm going to put it in the chat for you. Don't say I ain't never gave you nothing. By the way, tomorrow is February the 28th. Which happens to be Big Aboriginal Power's birthday again. So we're going to be bringing in another year of Aboriginal and consciousness and raising the intellectual capacity when it comes to the historical perspective of the Aboriginal people. So tomorrow is Big Aboriginal Power birthday. So I would like to see y'all tomorrow. We're going to do a birthday bash edition, open up the panel, chop it up with some folks. Probably be my last one. Live open panel. Open panel where anyone can come on. That'll probably be my last one for a while. So I'd like to chop it up with you guys. You know what I'm saying? My birthday is tomorrow, February the 28th. So make sure y'all come support with your brother. All right. Make sure y'all come do that. I'm gonna drop that link in the chat for y'all once again. Drop that link in the chat once again for you guys. Yeah, it's almost here. We almost there to the solar return, and another one, and not just another one here on YouTube with you guys spreading information. My first one goes back to my 27th birthday. My 27th birthday was my first birthday I spent with Aborigines online, and now we're almost at number 32. Man, don't time flies. Time definitely flies, you guys. So. Definitely got some memories with you guys. Yeah, man, 28, baby. Man, the 28th. Yeah, it's a good day. We had a lot of birthdays in my family this month. Quite a bit. So we've been doing this since I was 27 online with you guys. I actually goes back to 26. I was actually 26 when I did my first live stream birthday with you guys. But yeah, man. So yeah, we're here with another one. So man, like I said, support the channel. Share the live stream, thumb up the video, do what you gotta do to support the channel. Let's get back into some of this information. I do want to get back into it. I just want to leave some of this on the screen for you guys. I am trying to enjoy my backwood right quick before I get back into the story. If y'all don't mind, let me just enjoy this backwood here. Hey, Dots, listen, bro. When I first came in here, I was the young nigga. I was like, everybody was like, yeah, he the new young nigga. Nobody really know him, but he's the new young guy. You know, that was back in 2016, 17. Fast forward to 2023. I'm damn near like the OG around here. You know what I'm saying? Damn near like the OG. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't because I just been around. It's the work that I put in this too. It's a lot of people that's been around just as long. They just haven't they ain't put in as much work. So, you know, shout out to them. Keep driving and striving to do what you do. But yeah, man. So yeah, man, like I said, when I first came in this shit, I was like 27, 26. They were like, yeah, you the young nigga with the information. Fast forward 20, you know what I'm saying? 2023, about to hit 32 years of age. We still here rocking out with some of this fire information. My mind and thought process is not the same as it was at 26, 27, 28. I have changed my perspective. I have updated my information, and you know, and we're still doing research. You know, very, very important for that. Sorry about that. Oh, so let's get back into white slavery. Are y'all ready to get back into white slavery? Yes or no? Y'all let me know how y'all feeling in the chat. Are y'all ready? Y'all ready for some more white slave? Some more white slave narratives? All right. We're going to get to it, man. We ain't done. We're gonna get to it, man. Let's get it in, man. Shout out to everybody on the screen, man. We're gonna get it in. Shout out to Patrick Gabriel. Shout out to my big brother Patrick in the chat, man. It's always love, man. I can't wait to get back to New Orleans. I wish I would have came down there doing Mardi Gras, bro. We definitely would have turned up. Next year is definitely gonna be a vibe down there. Trust me. We in the area. Shout out to Patrick Gabriel for the $20 cash out donation. He said 20s for 20 BAP birthday challenge. I like that. I won't be mad at you, man. 20 for 20 on BAP birthday challenge. I ain't mad at you. Y'all support $20. We can go 20 for 20. You understand me? Let's see if we can get 20 people to give up 20 for BAP birthday challenge, man. Let's keep it going with the information, man. I want to see how many people be a part of the challenge. You know what I mean? Support the channel, man. Real talk. All right, so let's get into it. Let's see if we can make this a little larger on the screen. All right. It said white slaves were actually owned by Negroes and Indians in the South, such to an extent that the Virginia Assembly passed the following law in 1670. It is to enact that no Negro or no Indian through baptized and enjoy their own freedom. Y'all shall be capable of any such purchase of Christians. So this is how they put the law down. They say you cannot purchase any Christians in the state of Virginia. This is how they stopped so-called Negroes and Indians from purchasing whites. They made a law to where we couldn't buy white slaves no more. You see how they did the okie doke with you? So you can go and look up that Virginia Assembly law that was passed, right? Y'all can go and look it up. It was passed, Virginia law 1670, right? Said Negroes also own other Negroes. Oh, shit. That shit just pissed me off. Made me go through the wrong goddamn shit. That shit just pissed me the fuck off. I ain't even gonna lie to you, gangster. Let me get back to where I was. I ain't gonna get too pissed. Ain't got nowhere to do. We ain't got nothing to do today. We ain't got nothing to do today, do we? Y'all busy? If y'all busy, you know what I'm saying? Come back to me when y'all done. Come back to me when y'all done. All right. All right, let's get to it. We're gonna get into some more shit dealing with this white slave. Yeah, my born day ain't today, y'all. So don't give me no early blessings. Wait till it come in. Don't rush it. We taking our time to ease in to the solar return. We ain't in no rush. I'm getting old. You know what I'm saying? We ain't in no goddamn rush. We ain't in no rush. Whoo, give me gas just thinking about it. That's what Charles the White was like. All right, let's get to it. Y'all funny as hell. You know, boss, these days there is three kind of people. Lowest down is a layer of white folks. Then into the middle, a layer of color folks. And on the top is the cream, a layer of good white folks. Right? It said the slaves noticed their master's sense of superiority towards the marginal formers as well as towards poor whites. And by associating themselves with the quality white folks, strengthened their self-esteem. So this is how white people started to get up from being out of slavery. They start putting themselves around richer white folk. And these richer white folks would then sometimes later on in the future will feel bad, like why we got our people in these conditions, and they ultimately brought their people up out of those conditions. Okay. Let's move on. I want to get into this next part. Situation engendered the rage of the descendants of the survivors of white slavery, which has seldom been accounted for in the history of white working class support for the northern abolitionist cause. We can gauge the attitude of the Yemen whites, especially in the border states like Kentucky and Tennessee, but throughout the United States of America as well, who were either natural during the Confederacy struggle on the side of Lincoln or from the statement of an Iowa congressional man who maintained that it was a planter's atrocity which assaults and the spreads of African and the expense of the white race. Emma Lou Thornbroth, the race issue in Indiana politics during the Civil War, Indiana Magazine of History, June 1951. It says some of the leaders of the Free Soil Party. Now look that up. Look up the Free Soil Party. I don't even think y'all ever heard, which that's a whole nother bill in itself. The Free Soil Party is a whole nother build within itself. Trust me. So from the leaders of the Free Soil Party and many of the Unionist soldiers who made up the ranks of the Lincoln Army in the southern Ohio, western North Carolina, and eastern Tennessee, southern Illinois, Kentucky, and somewhere other areas, some elsewhere were survivors of white slavery. In the descendants of white slaves, they did not view themselves as advocates of what is then referred to as racial amalgamation. So when people think that what blacks and whites was mixing back in the day, it tells you the black rich motherfuckers was not mixing with no white slaves, man. Let's see who supported the channel. Shout out to Ricardo D for the $10 Cash App donation. Shout out to my brother Ricardo D. Make sure y'all show him some love in the chat. Honestly. Shout out to Ricardo D, man. Shout out to all you guys. He said, today my birthday, I give you half. Damn. Happy birthday to you, brother. Happy birthday to you. More than welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Keep half. Goddamn. Happy birthday to Ricardo D, man. Happy Earth Journey. Today your birthday. Damn. Well, I'll see you on tomorrow. Mine's coming right up. It'll be here in a few hours. So yeah, man, that's love, man. Appreciate that, man. Shout out to Ricardo D, man. Make sure y'all show some love in the chat. I want to see balloons, microphones, confetti. You know what I mean? Turn it up for my brothers in the chat. Shout out to everybody who got a birthday coming up today, tomorrow, or anytime this month. Okay. Shout out to everybody in the building. I'm gonna take a quick 60-second break. I just need to do some things, regroup. I'm gonna be back. Don't go nowhere. I will be back in 60 seconds.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made. Niggas died 1865.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up. On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made. Niggas died 1865.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up. On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
Sorry about that, you guys. Sorry about that. Had to take care of it. They got the babies in here with us today. Got the little Aboriginal powers running around. You understand me? Shout out to Suda Naturals as well for the cash out donation. Shout out to Suda Natural for the cash out donation. We appreciate that. Shout out to Suda Naturals. Let's get it in, man. Let's get back to where we was with this whole white slavery conversation. So white slavery is something that hasn't been fully told to us on the level from which we should understand. You understand me? Let's get into some other literature dealing with white slaves in America. We'll get into some of these earlier dates. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Big 12, 1077. Shout out to Big 12, 1077 in the building. Chief X Ali, good to see you in here. He who is Matthew Simmons. Let me just shout out a few brothers and sisters that's in here that I ain't get to shout out. Shout out to Enoch, April Dawn, Homegrown in the building. Shot Alpers. All right, Wood in the building. King Hawk in the building. Realize TV, Low Key Beats, Carbon Crowns in the building. Pop Reed. Make sure you show some love to Pop Reed. We got another troll hating. His name V Twins. Y'all give V Twins some hell in the chat. Make sure you don't let up off of this nigga. Shout out to Floyd Hill in the building. Good to see y'all. Good to see you. Haven't been able to shout some of the brothers and sisters out as I've been reading. So we want to make sure we're good. I'm gonna be right back in just a second. Give me 2 seconds. I want to make sure my sorry about that. Just want to make sure we was crispy on my guys' end. I want to put this back on the screen for you guys. Get to that in just a second. Shout out to Sister Soul Main Radio, Sun Baby. The Lex Vortex Show is in the building. Lex Vortex, how you doing, brother? Man, shout out to Lex Vortex, man. Hopefully, I pray for that brother's spirit to heal. Shout out to Eric Duncan. I pray for you to heal, man. We only here to uplift all Aboriginal people in the world. And right now we're using our environment and things around us in our situation to help benefit, so we can create a template for all Aboriginals to use around the world. And we're not self-hating African. We actually love Africans enough to call them original, saying that they're the first people. We call them Aboriginals of the continent we call Africa. We love Aboriginal people all around the planet. We're just focusing on the ones that we can reach out and touch right now, right? That's in our communities. Shout out to everybody's in the building too, by the way. All right. Let's go. From 1609 until the early 1800s, between one half or 2/3 of all white colonists who came to the New World came as slaves. Of the passenger on the Mayflower, 12 were white slaves. John Van Diervie, Bondover, the book. White slaves cleared the forests and drained the swamps, built the roads. They worked and died in greater numbers than anyone else. Right? Both psychologically and materially, whites in modern times were called upon to bear burdens of guilt of monetary reparations for Negro slavery. The possession is based entirely on enforced ignorance and the deliberate suppression of the record of white slavery in North America. Hundreds of thousands of whites had been enslaved during the colonial era in America, while millions of others were too poor to afford even a mule, much less a black slave. Slave reparations, the guilty, so it's saying that the Cherokee and all these other people own Negroes own slaves. They already been compensated for this, by the way, too. All right. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Come up the video, support the channel, man. We still cooking. We didn't come here as slaves, y'all. That's not our history. 1619, white people. Beat to death on plantations, white people. Work till your back can't give out. Sold for tobacco. These were pale skins. Let's get into it. The official papers of the white slave trade refer to adult white slaves as freight. So when you go and look at slave records and old historical records, you got to look at freight. White people, adult white people, would have been considered freight, right? A white child slaves were termed half freight, right? They were termed half freight. Like any other commodity on the shipping inventory, white humans were seen strictly in terms of market economics by merchants. They were strictly used for the economic empowerment of their then dying country that we call England and Britain today. The American colonies prospered through the use of white slavery, which Virginia planter John Pori declared in 1619 were our principal's wealth. So in Virginia, the main establishment of wealth, the main way to succeed, the main way to progress, the main way to achieve economic riches was to have white slaves do your work. All right. That was the in 1619, that was the principle of wealth, white slave. The white servant and the semi-slave was more important in the 1700s than even the Negro slave in respect to both numbers of economic significance. All right. So even then it talks about this. It was white slavery. Like, who denies There's white slavery going on. Let's get into it, man. We're not done. Yeah, we got some more to get into. I just want to slow it down for a little bit on the screen. You know what I'm saying? I want to slow it down because I'm reading. I want to lock in. You know, they really don't teach about white slavery. As a matter of fact, I can go through a Lex Vortex build, a Uncle Ket's build, a Brother Polite's build, a Shaka Utmost build, both of Sidenetta's channels, and I don't find a live stream where no one from the pro-black HOK or conscious community talks about white slave. But during that same time period, all I've heard is the same regurgitated Negro slave stories, which we have debunked since 2017. You can't refer to me to a Sinetta, Uncle Cat, Dagger Squad, Lex Vortex channel where they talk about white slavery. But yet they know it already. See, this is the insults that we got to deal with. In the 17th century, white slaves were cheaper to acquire than Negroes, and therefore they were often mistreated to a greater extent. Having paid a bigger price for a Negro, meaning a Negro will cost a lot more than a cheap white, according to documentations. The plantators treated the black better than they did the Christian white servants or slaves. Even the Negroes recognized this, and they did not hesitate to show their contempt for those white men who they could see were worse off than themselves. They almost felt bad for them. They said they almost felt bad for them. It was white slaves who built America from its very beginnings. No. We're not going to go with that. See, this is something that y'all got to learn to do when y'all read, Lex. We reading the documents and we critically thinking. We using critical thinking and we can jump to conclusions, and we know that they ain't going to have all the game right. So within this conversation, there's going to be things that they said that is totally true, and there's going to be inserts that are absolutely wrong. And one of those is that they built this place. When they came here, it was already infrastructure and shit already here in place. We use these people as an extra hand. It's like having a robot build. You want a robot to go pick your corn and shuck your taters and shit? Nigga, it's the same thing. It's like having a human robot that listens on command. You understand me? It's nothing different. Nothing different. You know? I might even drop the link today. I don't know. We'll see how we feel it here in a second. Yeah, let's get into some more shit, man. Let's get into some more shit. Shout out to everybody in the building too, man. I need everybody to hit that like button. Need y'all to hit that like button. Support the channel. Might drop the link here in a second for you guys. It depends. It depends. I apologize. Let's get to it. The trade in white slave was a natural one for English merchants who imported sugar and tobacco from the colonies. Whites kidnapped, now let's get into it, Just like the story they tell you from Africa. Oh, they kidnapped us. Nigga, they kidnapped your weak ass people. No offense. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. This is Black History Month. Okay. If your peoples got beaten, snatched up, that's you. Don't put that on my people. My ancestors did. They've been here. Was they hit with some of these legal games that we deal with? Yeah, we all are. You understand me? We all are. All right. So it said white slaves was a natural one for English merchants who imported sugar and tobacco into the colonies. Whites kidnapped in Britain could be exchanged directly for produce. The trade in white slave was basically a return haul operation. Do you understand that? The operations of Captain Henry Brain were typical. In November of 1670, Captain Brain was ordered to sail from Carolina with the consignment of timber for the West Indies. From there was the sail to London with a load of sugar purchased with the profits from the sale of the timber. And to England, he would then sell the sugar and fill up his ship with 200 to 300 more white slaves to be sold in Carolina. They said Carolina was one of the biggest slave ports, yes, for white slaves. Every time he went and did that trip, he loaded up with 200 to 300 white slaves to be sold in the Carolinas, man. And listen, you didn't have to have no record. You didn't have to have no receipt. All you had to do was come with a white man. You can instantly exchange it for produce. What type of produce? Produce that's grown here by the great agriculturalist people that invented agriculture here. Beans, greens, tomatoes. You understand what I'm talking about? What you sell that white man for? Beans, greens, tomatoes. You understand what I'm talking about? Easy work, man. So we'll buy 6, 7 of them for a satchel of tomatoes, cucumbers, and shit like that, and we'll make them white slaves go build us 8 more gardens. We're gonna get like 8 more producers of that. We're gonna get 20 more of this, and we ain't even gotta break a motherfucking sweat. You ain't gotta feed the motherfucking robot. I ain't gotta charge it up, plug it up, nothing. Oh, what they said, look, right here on the literature, I'm gonna highlight it for you. I'm gonna highlight it. It said every time he went to England, he loaded up on 200 to 300 slaves to be sold to the Carolinas. Let's just go ahead and be real with it. They getting sold out to niggas like black niggas shout out to Charleston. Shout out to my brothers in South Carolina, man. You know that's one of the biggest slave ports and they obviously were Slavic slaves. Shout out to Goose Creek. Shout out to Folly Beach. Shout out to West Ashley. Shout out to West Charleston. You understand me? Shout out to the whole South Carolinas, man. Shout out to everything going on in that area, man. You know, shout out to all my peoples around the whole globe. Matter of fact, I want to know where y'all are in the chat. We got 173 people in here. If y'all enjoying the live streams, let me know. If you are enjoying it, let me know. All right. And if you are, you know what I'm saying, get in the comment section. Let me know what city, what state you from. Let me know what city, what state you from. I want to know where the family is at and where y'all sitting at currently right now. You know what I'm saying? I want to know where y'all at. Get in the comment section. Let me know, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody around the globe, too. Y'all got going on, man? Y'all enjoying the bill? Drop a fire emoji in the chat if y'all enjoying the bill, or hit the poll in the chat. Philly in the building. West Ashley, what's up? Yeah, y'all know what's up. Y'all know I'll be moving through there, man. Y'all know if I want my Geechee, man. Y'all know I know my Geechee, man. DC in the building, South Florida in the building, West Ashley in the building, Philly in the building, Oakland in the building, West Ashley in the building, Copper Messiah, Massachusetts in the building. Who else we got in here? Drop them cities, drop them states. Lafayette, Missouri, in the Louisiana in the building. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. The notion of a contract and of legal status of whites in servitude became a fiction as a result of the exigencies of the occasions. And in 1623, George Sandys, the treasurer of Virginia, was forced to sell the only remaining 11 white slaves he had of the company for lack of provision, and to support them, 7 of these whites people were sold for 150 pounds of tobacco. This nigga was going bankrupt. You hear what he said? He put emphasis. He said, I had to sell my last. You understand me? My last 11 slaves. And 7 of them was just sold for 150 pounds of tobacco. Now, look at one of these colonies like a prison. Because it was. And in prison, imagine how much tobacco go for. So you do the math and see how much them niggas was making back then. The price tobacco go for now in jail is the price that tobacco went for then in their colonies. This shit was expensive, gang. Just look at that shit like prison. That nigga got sold. He sold 7 niggas for 150 pounds of tobacco. That was probably half of their body weight for each. They gave a quarter of their body weight. Ain't that some shit? What the hell are they gonna do with 150 pounds of tobacco besides sell that shit? Oh man, that was just using these bitches that look, man. Listen, hold on. Let's get into it, man. We better read some more. Somebody said, I need a cigarette. Bye, Rob. Rob need a motherfucking nudie. No, man. I came here to talk to you, Aboriginal Power. You're wrong, man. I don't smoke Newports, man. I smoke Marlboro Reds. Shut up. All right, so let's get into it. The slave status of whites held in the colonial bondage can also be seen by studying the disposition of the estates of the wealthy whites. Whites in bondage were rated as inventories and disposed of by will and by deed along with the rest of the property. So they just gave away a slave when they gave away the house. Bitch, you can keep the slave with you. Bitch. It gonna cost me more taking this starving motherfucker. You can use him for however you need. He's a part of the house. You understand what I'm saying? Let's see. It said they was bought, sold, bartered, gambled away. For mortgage, they was used weighed on scales like farm animals and taxed as property. So you can use this motherfucker as you can give a white man away for tax for your property, mortgage on your house. You know what I'm saying? You can weigh them up like a motherfucking cattle. Look, this is a big strong redneck. This motherfucker weigh about 350, all muscle. And all he eat is corn. We got plenty of corn, Paul. Go ahead and buy him. That's a good buy. I would have told my granddaddy buy that big white motherfucker. We gonna cut some trees down today. That's what his goddamn job. We got a tree chopper, Dad. Yeah. Y'all got the story twisted. Y'all think the white man was coming around picking out your granddaddy. When your granddaddy was picking out the white, they didn't gave it to you backwards. They didn't gave it to you backwards. It's all in reverse. It's all in reverse. You hear the stories of them living in teepees and shit, which we gonna come back to that in a second. We're gonna come back to the book. We ain't going nowhere. We're gonna come back to the book. We already heard about them living in teepees. We already seen them living in shacks, eating outside, eating just anything. Understand me? We done seen them outside huddling up, getting ready to get fed by giveaway old farming shit, old food supplies from our markets that the Red Cross and Goodwill, because they was doing a goodwill for people. They was giving these, man, listen, these people were waiting for our old food. These are Slavic slaves coming through. This shit is backwards. Y'all got this shit all the way motherfucking fucked up. This shit ass backwards. You niggas say, what? Nah, it's backwards. Yeah, this shit is all screwed up. This shit like a football bat. And these Pan-Africans, mystic Christian freaks be telling you lies. Here go another article talking about white merchants. I'll leave that on the screen. I'll even get y'all zoom in. Yeah, nigga. Here go more Slavics living in their concentration camps. I'll leave that image on the screen. Yeah, these are just the way they lived. This is the way that a so-called slave, white slave would have lived. They not living in shacks. We're not feeding them pig guts. You understand me? We don't know what they eat and don't really give a damn. And they didn't give a damn. They was coming over here by the millions. Millions and millions of white people came over here in 1820 to 1920. Less than 12 years after the illegal importation of Africans, they started importing Europeans. And black men was selling and shipping and making money. See, black men got smart. They was like, man, we can do some shit. We can get a bunch of these little motherfucking white motherfuckers, get the women's, and we can sell these motherfuckers. We can use them. We can rent them out. You understand what I'm saying? This is how the pimping and the harem gang came about. And there was so many niggas making so much money off of that during the 1800s and 1900s. By 1910, they put the Mann Act out. What's that? The white slavery, the illegal trafficking of white slaves. They call it white slavery or pimping charge. Pimping ain't for niggas selling bitches and selling nigga. It was for slavery, nigga. And it's in the highest form of pimping, the highest charge of pimping, the most horrendous charge that you can get with selling a person is called white slavery. It's called the Mann Act. And they didn't put that down until 1810. So from in 1910. So from 1820 to 1910, Negroes was making the industry off of this. And you know this motherfucking boat stank. Like literally, they got stories from my ancestors talking about they can smell the shipment of Europeans coming before they even hit the coast. That good beach wind will hit that boat, and that smell will come through the coast of the Carolinas, New York, Philadelphia, Jersey, Maine, Massachusetts, Florida. They hit that coast, and all you smell is the funkiness. I'm talking about make a maggot throw up. I don't think y'all motherfucking hear me. I'm talking about this shit. The smell was so bad, it'll make a maggot gag. You understand me? This shit'll make a maggot gag. That's some stinking shit. And I'm just saying, months on the boat with a vagabond and some pale skin can't be that bad if you ask King Cass. Look, more cotton pickers, cotton pickers, cotton pickers. And it's an early, this a late 1800s photo. I'm talking about like 1850s, 1860s, 1870s, I believe. That's all that was good for. We wasn't making we would do work too. We would already do this. We created the cultivation of cotton. We got tired of scraping up our damn hands, and we can go get some niggas that we just gave 150 pounds of tobacco for 7 motherfucking white people. We're gonna let these 7 white people get the rest of this goddamn cotton and tobacco out the goddamn field. That's what make yourself useful, goddamn it. Yeah, granddaddy, grandmama, uncle, auntie, cousin, them. Yeah, we ain't about to scrape our hands up. No, we'll go get the fruits off the tree. We'll fold the blankets, goddamn. No, you get your ass out there in them cornfields and that tobacco field and that motherfucking cotton field, and you do what you gonna do. I'm just giving it to you straight up. This is white slavery in America. Look at them coming off the boat. You got Negroes with hard hats, hard working Negroes. You understand me? A white woman being sold. Oh shit. White woman being sold right here. This ain't nothing too much to look at. It's simple. It's simple. It ain't got much to a white woman being sold as usual. You know what I'm saying? Nothing, you know what I'm saying? Nothing new, boss. Another day in the office. You understand what I'm saying? Here go one getting whipped up. And he's getting a good whipping. And it's a nigga right here with a smile on him, 24 karat black. Yeah. The nigga right here to the right got a 24 karat black smile looking at this good guy getting his beating. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the photo, man. I'm not here pushing ill will, hate. I have love for everyone. This is just a historical narrative that doesn't get told in America. It's getting suppressed and buried. We're here to talk about white slaves in America. Okay? If y'all can make Django and 12 Years a Slaves and 8, 9 and all kind of weird ass slave movies with big dumb ass metal copper rings on their neck with poles sticking out of, and that's fake. We can at least talk about some real historical events. These are the true Africans, y'all. These are Afrikaners. What is an Afrikaner? A white inhabitant living in motherfucking Africa, nigga. Straight up. Yeah, we not doing that. Y'all be coming through with that weird shit. We here to teach our people the truth. Yes, we are POWs, but your peoples was literally slaves. Like we builders, and they gave us a name for that. They called the mound builders, the Indians. Like you're a slave or a pale skin or whatever, European, but the original peoples was Slavs. Like that was like the Slavic race built. Do you see what I'm going with this? Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Let's get back to it, man. We're gonna get back to it. Because we just seen little buddy sold 150 pounds of tobacco. We're going to read some more shit about some of their little friends. Yeah, they can show roots and shit. I can't read a little book. The status of whites held in colonial... Oh, I just read that. My bad. We just looked at that they can pay their ass for property. All right, so Richard Legan, a contemporary eyewitness to white slavery, in his 1657, A True and Exact History tells of the white slave and a woman who was being traded by her master for a pig. Both the pig and the white woman were weighed on a scale. The price was set for the groat a pound for the hog's flesh and 6 paces for the woman's flesh. Man, listen, they was doing white women like pigs. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. They wasn't doing that woman like no damn pig. She got sold for a pig. Let's get it. Generally, whites were not treated with relative dignity. The term indentured service connotes, but the degraded chattel, part of the personal estate of the master, and on a par with his farm animals. So no, man, indentured servant was less than a farm animal. Fuck all that. Oh, they was indentured servants. Indentured servants, white slaves was interchangeable. Interchangeable. You wasn't allowed to say I got white slaves. That was because of that 1670 Assembly's law that was established in Virginia. We just read that. So we're not gonna play with these niggas. None of these niggas shout out to my brother nonetheless in the chat. Shout out to Certified Sachi, shout out to Swarty Caesar, shout out to Big Wizard, shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in this thing, man. Shout out to Damian McRoy, Juan Truth. What's going on with it, man? Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Cash out information at the bottom of the screen. Call in number on the screen. Y'all can call in too at any time. Call in. All right. Don't hesitate to call in at any time, man. We answering all phone calls today. Make sure y'all call in on me. All right. So now, man, we breaking it down. Niggas like Lex Vortex, not a coincidence. These niggas be lying about white slavery. I don't know what the hell wrong with these fools. You understand me? I don't know what's wrong with these damn fools. These niggas is sick, bro. And listen, man. Let's get into some more shit. Get into some more shit. My bad. I thought we had some shit on the screen. My bad. I didn't mean to take that off. I apologize about that. Let's get into some more shit. Let's get into some more shit, man. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if y'all can see everything clear, man. Drop them fire emojis in the chat too. I need to know if y'all can see everything clear. Drop them fire emojis, man. And also, man, I ain't gonna tell y'all to hit the like button. I haven't told y'all to hit the like button not one time neither. So subscribe to the channel, share the live stream. You know what I mean? 96% of y'all saying that y'all are enjoying the live stream. 4% of y'all said no. That's with a cast of 70 votes. So, man, the 4% people that's in here, if you're not enjoying today's live stream, you can politely leave. You know what I mean? Respectfully. That's what today's show is about. You know what I mean? There were 4 categories of status of white people in colonial America. White freedmen who owned property, white apprentice, and also called indentured servants, and free willers and white slaves. These was all 4 of the categories, man. These was the 4 categories in the areas in America, man. They was all interchangeable. The attempt by Abbott, Emerson, Smith, and Galison, and many others to deny the existence of the brutal treatment of white slaves by pretending that they were mostly just indentured servants. See, that's what these niggas be doing. Tell the full story, not a coincidence. They was indentured servants, but they was really white slaves. Learning a trade regulated according to the vulnerable medieval guide traditions of the apprenticeships runs completely counter to the documentary record. Not a coincidence. Stop playing these games, bro. All right, let's get into these motherfucking beasts who was, because listen, what does the 13th Amendment say? Hey, what does the 13th Amendment say, y'all? Come on, help me out. Help a brother out. What does the 13th Amendment say? Slavery is abolished except for when you in prison. Nigga, automatically, when you in prison at any time in life, that's just code word for slaves. POW, prisoners of war, slaves of war. Facts. So don't let it get twisted. Don't let it get twisted. We're going to get into this stuff. A large number of white slaves arriving in America, described as convicts, were actually political prisoners. So these wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Of the Scottish troops captured in the Battle of Warsaw, more than 600 were shipped to Virginia as slaves. They got POW'd in a war, got captured in a war, and shipped to niggas in America. Come on, man. Come on. Who you know talking about white slavery like that? They said they shipped 600 were shipped to Virginia in 1651. The rebels of 1666 were sent as slaves to the colonies, as were the Mammoth rebels of 1685 of the Jacobites of the rise in 1715. The Jacobites. You know what the fuck a Jacobite is? That's a white Hebrew. Y'all say y'all Hebrew Israelites. Them niggas said they Jacobites. Nigga, y'all using a fake name, which is Israel, given to them by some spiritual shit, and they using Jacobites. Lex Vortex, y'all got some explaining to do. Y'all niggas are gatekeepers, man. Y'all ain't been wanting to tell us that we been here and that white slaves was the first. Y'all tell us that we African because we got enslaved first here. Y'all some dumb motherfuckers, man. Y'all some dumb, excuse my French. I apologize. I'm sorry about that, Lex. I apologize. You're not ignorant and dumb at all, bro. I'm sorry. I apologize. I should not have said that, man. That's not cool. That's not cool. See, I even got to work on my own self, bro. My bad, man. It's my bad. You know what I mean? Let's get to it, man. Let's get some shit back on the screen, man. Let's get it back going. Man, this is the source. This is a reference. If you want to do all the more source reading, I gave the book out in the chat already. I done gave this book out. It's in the chat for everybody to read. It's already in there. Nigga, ain't nobody lying or being disingenuous, nigga. We showing page for page, nigga. Showing you on the fucking screen. So I don't gotta do all that when I done gave you the book, nigga. We reading the book just like you niggas read. Newspaper. Y'all niggas can read a newspaper article, but don't never give me who wrote the newspaper article. Come on, man. Get the fuck out of here. Let's get to it. As one of the victims later recounted, they were all guarded and delivered in a good deal. They then were at the same time bound in time. They planned to ship the prisoners to either New England or Pennsylvania, where they will be sold as servants. But when the vessel stopped to take on supplies at this particular place in Ireland, they escaped, crossing the surrounding countryside. In the Netherlands, McDonald's and the McLoy has whatever prosecuted. So they got away. White slaves got away. They ran prisoners. In Charles County Court in Maryland in 1690, it was agreed that the indentures under which 7 white slaves were being held were kidnappers' indentures and therefore technically invalid. However, the court ruled that the white slaves should continue to be held in slavery to their various colonial masters based on the so-called customs of the country. Like, come on, man. You gotta calm down, man. Y'all hit that like button. I mean, no, don't hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Y'all can hit the like button, but I don't want to tell y'all to hit the like button. If y'all like it, y'all hit it. Shout out to Valinda Simpson for the Cash App donation. She sent in a $20 Cash App donation. Shout out to Valinda Simpson. We really appreciate that, sister. Make sure y'all show extra love to Valinda, the sister, the empress, the goddess, for supporting the channel. Shout out to you. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Thank you. She said, for a great channel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is a good channel. And because it's family and grassrooted base, and we give you guys the opportunity to come on and chop it up with us, and we take calls and we get it in, you know, as long as y'all being respectful and stuff like that, we love it. So it's good to see you around, sister. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe. Good to see you around. Shout out to the 832 area code calling in. You're talking to Big Aboriginal Power live on the Wake and Bake Show. How you doing?
Copper Color Grizzly. Happy solar return.
Yes, it's coming up real soon. It'll be here.
Day.
Yeah, it'll be here tomorrow. My birthday tomorrow.
How about all these flies who have no birthday and they born on the 4th of July, like Tom Cruise? You know, we don't have to be talking like we're slanderers. The truth hurts, doesn't it? You know, but keep perpetuating this lie, this fraud, this propaganda. Certain people, which they shall remain unnamed. You've done pretty good on your presentation so far. 2 other books you're probably aware of. You've got They Were White and They Were Slaves. I'm sure you're hip to White Cargo.
Yeah, I got White Cargo as well.
The White Trash, Dr. Nancy Eisenberg, the 400-year untold history of class in America. Now, this woman has taken it through the same 1619 dilemma and brought everything you've just laid out in your presentation, good brother.
Mm-hmm.
Also, are you familiar with the Crocker Dictionary? I know you out there in the backwoods of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You familiar with that? So they had so many derogatory words for themselves, they had a dictionary. But we got one word that we keep slandering and scandalizing ourselves with that don't pertain to us whatsoever. And the word black has over 125 definitions created by them, all of which are evil, dark, gloomy, negative, except for in the black. The backwoods at the back. What you make it work?
Yeah, I know I got all.
By the way, the reason why they stopped calling white slavery is particular to white women. What you were saying in law was closing and categorizing white Christians, right? So anything that was referenced in the discussions of people that supposedly white, they were specific to men and disregarded women. Isn't that part of their patriarchy? To this.
No, you heard. My bad.
I mean, isn't that the case?
Yep. No, you're right.
So until Prohibition, which was dealing with alcohol, and they dealt with that before they dealt with the franchise and extending the vote to supposed white women. And black women, again, the so-called, did not get their franchise until 1965 Voting Rights Act, correct?
Right.
So, and who's responsible for all of this? I know who's blamed for it. Tom
Right.
But who is responsible for all this governmental behavior and this so-called criminal enterprise? I call it criminal enterprise. Who's responsible for this? Rob Knoxon. I want to keep going around, I don't know what it is you think you're accomplishing, but the truth shall be told. And it's not just whether you're a slave, Slav or not. We just had the first Slav, the first woman, was directly from Slovenia. Did she not have an anchor baby?
Yep.
Did she not bring her parents over here scandalously and slip some underhanded, manner of citizenship to her father and mother? Right in front of the whole world. Right. So we have seen these people conduct themselves in an outlaw fashion and criminal manner all the way literally up to the so-called White House, right?
Hey, make sure y'all call in too in the chat, man. Make sure y'all call in, man. Call in.
We're supposed to be embarrassed by it. I mean, I don't know about you, Copper Color Grizzly. I didn't have shit to do with it.
Correct.
So why they keep laying the shit at our doorstep?
Right.
Now, I think I've asked this before. You know about Delaware?
Ahead. We're gonna keep it brief.
About Copper Color Grizzly.
You can't hear me?
I couldn't hear you. I wasn't sure if I got dropped, but I'm just gonna say in party, bro.
My shit. Can y'all hear out there? Hold on. Can y'all hear out there? Can y'all what? They said no sound the whole time. What the hell?
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was talking the whole time.
Yeah, I wasn't able to hear you respond. I'll just wrap up with what I said about Delaware. Did you hear what I said about Delaware?
Yeah.
It was the first colony ratified in 1787. It was the last to outlaw and abolish slavery in 1865, not Juneteenth in Texas. The current criminal in the so-called White House, the longest-serving senator of that state for over 36 years.
Right.
And currently, all corporations are registered in Delaware. I know you're still doing your tour across the nations, right? Eventually, you think we should have some focusing on that fact and the truth of the center point of our
you know what Delaware is, man. That's the corporate washing of their dirty money that they use throughout America. That's what they use Delaware for.
Delaware is for corporations to be registered. Connecticut is where the insurance companies are, which insured whomever was cargo and a slave, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we have these documents revealed while the Mormons are buying 1 billion records worldwide? Keep doing what you're doing, young blood. Elbows and arrows. Elbows and assholes. Keep them running, Copper Colored Grizzly. Keep them running.
Shout out to the OG Alabama. Appreciate you, OG. For real talk. Appreciate that. Y'all call in at any time too, man. Feel free to call in at any time. Definitely want to chop it up with y'all. So make sure y'all tap in, man, on some real shit. If y'all enjoying the live stream, drop a fire emoji in the chat. We ain't done. I want to get to this introduction because He made me think of this when he brought up the white trash book. And here goes some of the authors on it. I got the PDF too, so let's get to it.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm Harold Holzer, and I have the privilege of that's the first ovation, semi ovation I've gotten. So I have the privilege of serving as the Jonathan Fanton Director of Roosevelt House. Um, I want to welcome you to the House and to remind you that before we get to the formal introductions, that we will be having a conversation tonight um, with Nancy Eisenberg and my old pal Frank Rich, facilitated by Roosevelt House's own Bill Goldstein, to discuss Nancy's book, White Trash, the 400-Year Untold History of Class in America. And cognizant of the fact that we meet in the House where FDR planned the social safety net that perhaps did more to um, rectify class inequality than any other program in American history. We remember, by the way, interestingly, that Roosevelt was labeled a traitor to his class for doing that. To make tonight's formal introduction, I'm so pleased to welcome someone very special in her own right, an extraordinary human rights activist, attorney, expert on human rights, and an inspiring leader to all of us at Roosevelt House, because she is our beloved chair of the Board of Advisors. Please welcome Rita Hauser.
Thank you, one and all, and to everybody upstairs, standing room. I knew this would be a hit as soon as I saw it. So I'm very glad, because it is a subject of tremendous relevance. And at Roosevelt House, we have had really the most extraordinary series of books and speakers, and I think we're packed here every night. So it is really a great achievement for everyone. And I'm thrilled with the subject and the people. You know the book, you know the subject. I'll just be very brief in saying we have Nancy Eisenberg, who is the Williams Professor of History at Louisiana State University. And she has written a number of books, and some of them she has co-authored with her husband, who is here with us, particularly Madison and Jefferson, which they wrote together. And I think that's a wonderful accomplishment. She's writing another book, and she's been on C-SPAN and TV and all of that, regular contributor. And this particular subject was obviously one we all talked about then, during, now, and forever on what is called white trash or hillbillies. Frank, I've known such a long time, and I can say frankly, everybody bought the Sunday Times when you were writing your column. He is a writer at large now for New Yorker magazine, and he joined them after having left a nice long career, culture, op-ed, theater reviews. I even learned tonight he was a TV reviewer at the New York Times and elsewhere. He's written every place and everywhere on theater, on culture, and on the decline and fall of truth from 9/11 to Katrina. He's a creative consultant to HBO, where he's executive director of an Emmy-winning comedy, Veep, which I think a lot of you must have seen, and others such. And he has got a forthcoming documentary called Becoming Mike Nichols, which I'm looking forward to as well. So let's get on with the conversation, and then there's time for plenty of questions.
Well, thank you both. Thank you both for being here. Nancy, we have 400.
Boy, they got a sold out show to talk about they white trash hillbilly slave history. Boy, they got a whole sold out show in that motherfucker.
The way in which, in surveying American history, you really seize, as you do in the title, on language and how language has reflects our history, but also has shaped it. So, just to get us started, could you tell us about the title and how you chose such a perfect title, and whether there was any debate in your publishing house whether this
Oh, there,
would be the
oh, there
title?
was.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to do with this book is show that our notions of class have a much longer and older history. And I take it all the way back to the British colonial period, in part because even though we tell ourselves that the American Revolution, we left Great Britain, we got rid of the aristocracy, in fact, none of that is true. We borrowed a great deal from British and English culture.
She said none of that history is true. I don't know if y'all heard that. She said none of that history is true. Let me go
Welcome
back up
someone
to where
very
we were.
special in.
Or with her husband, fine
Oh
and
God.
full of
And how language has reflects our history, but also has shaped it. In search,
Katrina. He's a other such, and he
begin
And
quickly.
My bad, y'all.
What
My
I was
bad. My
struck by
bad. Players
in
fuck
your
up.
book
Players
is
fuck up.
first of all the title, but then
Hey,
the
but
way
listen
in
though,
which
before we even
in
move on,
surveying American history.
I need y'all to hit that like button though. I need y'all to hit that like button. She already starting off. Listen, all this history they told us about this glorious shit we did is a lie. She about to get in. She about to get into some shit about their culture. I want y'all to support the channel. Hit that like button. I mean, don't hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel and share the live stream. If you want to hit the like button, please do so. I'm not going to tell you do, but definitely hit that subscribe button and share the live stream. All right, let's continue this. Shout out to everybody in the building.
You really sees, as you do in the title, on language and how language has reflects our history, but also has shaped it. So, just to get us started, could you tell us about the title and how you chose such a perfect title, and whether there was any debate in your publishing house whether this
oh, there,
would be the
there
title?
was.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to do with this book is show that our notions of class have a much longer and older history. And I take it all the way back to the British colonial period, in part because even though we tell ourselves that the American Revolution, we left Great Britain, we got rid of the aristocracy, in fact, none of that is true. We borrowed a great deal from British and English culture. And two of the concepts that are sort of central to to the where white trash comes from is, first of all, since we have been an agrarian nation for over half our history, it's important to pay attention to rural ways of thinking about class. And the idea of white trash actually was first used by Richard Hakluyt, who was an Elizabethan adventurer who made a pitch to Queen Elizabeth about why we needed the New World. And the real reason that he felt the New World was important is that it was going to be the trash bin for the poor and the idle and the worthless people in England. Now, this, of course, upsets the apple cart on the idea that somehow everyone who came to the New World were seeking religious liberty. It's not true. Most people were coming for economic reasons, and the word that was used by Richard Hakluyt to describe these people was waste people. So, therefore, the idea of trash, Thomas Jefferson, Abigail Adams referred to the rural white population as rubbish. Now, we still hear that. British people still use that term today. But part of what I was trying to uncover is that two big concepts that we need to think about still shape our class system today. One is the idea of land and the importance of the civic value and the economic value and the class value of being a landowner. And this is important because one of the things that we have to realize is that even in the early founding period, you couldn't vote unless you owned.
Mind you, they keep talking about this is the new world. Now, this is the new world for them to bring their goddamn diseases to. Yeah, because this is a place that they hadn't been to bring that wicked shit. But it was already infrastructure, government, morals, spiritual, science, education, building, transportation, sanitation, electricians, all that already going on here. And even in the history, it tells you that so-called Aborigines and so-called Negroes were inquiring these such white slaves or white servants.
Owned land, and land in a sense was seen as the real source of liberty. You had to be a landowner. So land, and if we think about why land continued to be associated with the poor were very much fashioned as either being seen as people who lived on land that was considered wasteland because that's where waste people came from. Wasteland is land that's left untilled and fallow and is unproductive. So, therefore, the waste people throughout American history end up being associated with unproductive land. For example, the term redneck is identified as being associated with people who live in swamps. At the same time, hillbillies are associated with people who live in the hills and are seen as poor. So, land that's unproductive is the source of one important definition for understanding class identity. The other important theme that I highlight, which we also inherited from the British, is the idea of breeding. And this is really important because this is the idea that one's class identity is passed from one generation to the next. This connects to pedigree, lineage, and the fact that for the British and for early Americans and Americans in general, one of the things that we don't pay attention to is that class is not just only about property ownership or the labor value of the job you have. It's also very much linked to breeding and even your children. Children were a measure of the class identity and class status of individuals because the poor children were always seen as unhealthy, poorly clothed, poorly fed. And by the time the term white trash appears, which is in the 1820s, at that moment, poor whites and white trash are now being associated with two other rather disturbing.
No, she said. Notice she said 1820s, 1920s. This is during the time that they are going through a depression. They had just now stopped the enslavement of white bitches. Excuse me, white women. Excuse me, the Mann Act. They had stopped us from making economic strides, from selling them white people or using them as rental properties, if you will. And they stopped that. They put a law out on that
Disturbing
in
terms for the poor,
1910.
which were clay eaters and sandhillers. Sandhillers, again, they lived on worthless sand. Clay eaters is where they were seen as not even being white. They were seen as having the skin color, a yellowish tint to their skin color that was compared to parchment. And part of the reason they had this disease is it's pellagra. But in the 1820s, 1840s, no one identified this. This doesn't get identified until the early 20th century. So when we think about class, we have to return to the importance of breeding, inheritance. And this is also why, as I trace my history, the other important thing to think about, and this unfortunately is still part of our history today, the other group that the English despised were vagrants. So the poor, in a sense, are always associated with people who don't put down roots, who aren't property owners, who are seen as people who are always on the move, people who, and this is actually even used today as a
I don't believe everything she's saying, but look how them two white men are looking at her though. Look at them. They are infatuated with their lost history of Slavic slaves. Just look at them admiring her. They should be admiring me for bringing this information out. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in here, man. Let's get everybody to support the channel, man. We got 205 people in here. Let's get a couple people to share the live stream. Tag me if you share it on social media. I will share it on my pages. Let's get a few people to support the channel, man. Cash out information is at the bottom of the screen, right? We also have PayPal information ticking across. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Let's continue.
wheels. That's a home. That's a place you live that never gets the same. It's never really seen as a home because it's seen as again people who are on the move, people who are not real property owners. So if you can go away from tonight thinking about several things that continue to be a part of our class identity. One is the way it's passed from parent to child, and that's even true for sociologists. They have found in 2015 the most important predictor of being successful in this country is linked to the wealth and privilege that you get from not only your parents, but your ancestors. So, lineage and this idea of inheritance is still very much a part of our class definition. The other is this idea of breeding. Breeding is not only the way we might think of it in a positive term as acquiring taste or skills, it also, for white trash, it was seen as an imposed identity, something you literally inherited. And that's why I have a great deal to say about the eugenics movement and how incredibly popular that was. Everyone subscribe to this ideology. Professors at Harvard, leading politicians like Teddy Roosevelt. As you know, the major institute for studying eugenics was in New York, was in Long Island. Charles Davenport was the head of that. So these three concepts, mobility, vagrancy, breeding, pedigree, land and property, I think still continue to be extremely important ways for how we sort and divide people, because class isn't just about the money you earn, it isn't just about your job and the status, it's also bodily. It's also seen as the way you appear, and that's why white trash were always seen as, children who are barefoot, diseased, and that this is sort of the dark side of class that really did define this cultural pattern that gets reinvented as the terms get reinvented across history and time.
Well, so I'll come back to the fight you had with your publisher, or discussion you had with your publisher about the title. But Frank, I wanted to ask you to speak to this issue about mobility, the idea really that we have of America as a place of liberty and mobility. I mean, where what Nancy is saying is that the mobility is actually in many ways an illusion, and white trash is a term that coheres around mobility or lack thereof. So if you could speak about.
So listen, man, I'm not gonna bore y'all with all this, man. It is a dope introduction to to some of her dialogue. It gets into her explaining a lot of her book mechanisms, which is one of the ones is white trash. So if you haven't heard of that or checked it out, make sure y'all go check it out. Let's get into some more heat. Into some more heat. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the live stream. Hit that like button. We're gonna get into some more white slavery, the untold history of white slavery, the first slaves in America. So we're gonna be dealing with white children in chains. White children in chains is the next segment that we're gonna get into. Shout out to everybody in the building. Yeah, the book is $10,000 for that book. I actually have the book. I'm not going to give it to you guys right now. You guys won't even support the channel by sharing it. We do got one person that did just support just now. Shout out to Copper Tone. Shout out to Copper Tone for the $9 Cash App donation. Copper Tone sent in the $9 Cash App donation. We really appreciate that, brother. Real talk, man. Shout out to Copper Tone. We really appreciate that, God. Real talk. Also, he said, "Fire Bill, broski." Hey, man, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Oh, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. That's fantastic. You know. Oh, and then I put these bills together. I was gonna do it yesterday. There was a lot of stuff going on. I didn't get around to doing it, so I was like, I'm gonna do it today. Have some time. So we're gonna get into it. So yeah, man, we can get into quite a few things, man. We'll get into quite a few things. Who wrote what book, sir? If you don't mind telling me what book you're talking about, and I'll be more than happy telling you. Talking about the book that I'm reading on the screen. Talking about this book right here. Donna London. Are you talking about this book, sister? Sorry, sister. I apologize. I caught myself. You ain't gotta get on me. I understand. Players fuck up. The name of this book is "They Were White and They Were Slaves," and the person who wrote this book is by Michael A. Hoffman II. Hoffman is HOFFA. I'm an MAN II. Michael MICHAEL. Michael Hoffman. Michael A. Hoffman II. Yeah, this ain't law. This is documented records. They got laws stopping this white slavery in various different states and colonial periods. We have receipts. Uh, Donna, this is accurate. The shit that pertains to upliftment and your ancestors' true history is they don't want that allude to you. Another lie that they told you is that you was the one that came over here as slaves in 1619, but they never told you that they came over here as slaves in 1615 all the way up till 1920s as slaves, as servants. Let's get into some more literature dealing with whites. The kidnapping of English children into slavery in America is actually legalized during the first quarter of the 17th century. So it was legal to kidnap a woman in England, an English woman, and then sell them. In that period, a large number of poor children, of poor parents, as well as orphan children, were targeted for the white slave trade. These poor white children were described as plague or a rowdy element. Aristocrats who ran Virginia companies, such as Sir Thomas uh, Smith and Sir Edwin Sandys, viewed the children as convenient pools of slave labor for the fields of Virginia colonies. In their petition of the Council of London in 1618, they complained of a great number of vagrant children in the streets and request that they may be transported to Virginia to be served as slaves. So in 1618, they was tired of seeing these slaves on the streets of London, and they was kidnapping them and shipping them here. How you think all these white people got here? White people are not indigenous here. They wasn't always here during certain time frames. We can get into when they got here. Get into it. A bill was passed in September of 1618 permitting the capture of children aged 8 years older and girls as well as boys. The 8-year-old boys were to be enslaved for 16 years. And the 8-year-old girls for 14 years, after which it said they were to be given land, right? They get compensated, right? Oh, we want reparations in the form of land. These slaves got land after 16 years, according to Robert C. Johnson in the transportation of the vagrant children of London, Virginia, in the early Stuart studies. Right. So they were getting enslaved and shipped around. This is documented. They already got their reparations. Oh, white, we should get land. No, we don't want no money. They gonna give you land and money. You gotta know that. All right, let's get to it. I don't even feel like reading no more. I've been reading for about an hour, man. It's about an hour and a half for real. All right, y'all know who the Stewart family is? I know some Stewarts. Most of the Stewarts I know are black. Most of the Stewarts know are Negroes. Virginia House of Stewarts. All right. All right. Hold on. We're not even done yet. I might just save some of this because I still got a lot to go. I still got a lot to do. We're going to do a part 2 to this. Ooh, excuse me. We're gonna do a part 2 to this. I'm gonna drop the link for a quick minute. We're gonna conversate for about 30 minutes. Not gonna be in here long. Maybe even less than that. Depends on how I feel. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. That's today's show. If y'all enjoyed it, man, drop them fire emojis in the chat, man. We got a part 2 coming. Actually, it's gonna be a part 3 because this is pretty lengthy. I told y'all that in the beginning of the live stream that I will be doing a part 2 and possibly a part 3. And it's looking like we're gonna do a part 3. It's pretty lengthy. I got a lot more to get into. I got other references and books that we're getting into. So make sure y'all tune in, man. So I want y'all to support the channel, man. If y'all really enjoy these live streams, wait till you get into the Untold History of White Slavery Part 2. The first slaves in America, part 2, man. Wait till y'all get into that, man. It's 1-on-1. Shout out to he who is, man. Whatever you're doing, you turn it down in the background, big brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Give me a second. Let me.
I got you. Shout out to the brother. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Sister Bethy. Shout out to Yida Vilified. Shout out to everybody else that's in the building as well. Drop a fire emoji if you're enjoying the live stream. Kassar F. Raj L. Donna in London, you can always come on. You can have a dialogue. I would like to hear your side of the understanding. I'm not a know-it-all. I do not know it all. I only see things the way I do my research and in my perspective, and I give it out to the way I see it. And you can do your research and, see if you come up to the same conclusion. But if you see it from a different perspective, Donna, you're more than welcome to come on and we can have a dialogue, peaceful. Shout out to Nova Star, Ricardo D, Atanchis Amaru Khan. Good to see you in here, good brother.
Salute.
Janine, good to see you in here. Bullish Prince, Dan Smith, Juan Bay. Shout out to everybody. Morrow, the Mississippi River. What's going on? Good to see y'all up in this thing, man. Good to see. Oh, we got the Atanchis one up in here. I didn't even know my brother, the Atanchis one, was up in this thing. Shout out to my brother Atanchis one in the chat, man. Shout out to y'all.
Salute, A1. Salute.
Yeah, when I'm reading, it's hard to read in the chat like I normally do. Shout out to Mr. Factor 510. Good to see you in here. Shout out to everybody else that I might have missed. Good to see y'all. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. I'm gonna probably do a part 2 to this tomorrow. I'll probably add that to being part of the birthday bash tomorrow. Y'all know the nigga birthday tomorrow. We're gonna bring in another solar return with you guys again. You know what I'm saying? I think we on number 6 as then with the Aborigine community and giving this information, man. So shout out to the gods in the building for coming through and supporting the channel. Share the live stream and support Cash App at the bottom right of the screen. What's going on, he who is? What's going on with it, brother?
I just wanted to, like I said, I just want to give you your flowers, brother. My birthday, the 10th, March the 10th. So we came through the gateway at the same time.
So did.
You heard me? So, like I say, man, keep doing what you're doing. You went down a deep hole today, boy. You really hurt some people's spirits today. Keep going down. Keep going down there, though.
Yeah,
Take them down through there.
I don't want to hurt them. I just want to let them know that there's a side of history that's almost been ignored to the point where now it's starting to be covered up and totally dismantled and hid. And so we're going out and reaching in and bringing out that history. We're not here to demonize anyone or
at all.
We're just here to give the true, accurate depiction of history because we're trying to reconstruct it to the best of our abilities.
Exactly. And I think I call this, we digging up our bones.
Facts.
You feel me? These are bones. Don't nobody else got to pull up our bones. Nah, we got this. We got this. And like I said, I just wanted to salute you, young bro. Man, like I said, I'll be 53 on the 10th. Praise be to the Most High, creator of all existence, and all my ancestors that came before me and after me.
Absolutely.
I'm thankful. You feel me? I'm so thankful, dude.
I'm very blessed.
And like I said, I'm thankful I'm very thankful to hear young brothers speaking how y'all speak and what y'all on and stand on it 10 toes strong. You feel me?
Well, listen. A young brother is happy to be heard. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. You doing it.
this time a young person's voice gets overlooked. It doesn't have enough weight. It doesn't have any substance behind it. It ain't been here. It ain't witnessed enough. And I'm glad you guys are taking the opportunity to listen to this young brother's voice, which
Yes,
I'm just
sir.
I'm just a vessel that the ancestors seem to channel this information through. So shout out to each and every one of you guys. We got a
Yes,
Hanu
sir.
God on her. A Hanu, what's going on, brother?
Hey man, you talking to me like I'm a stranger, man. Peace to the gods, man. Peace to the goddesses, man. Peace to the Aborigines, North, South, Central, and the Conjoining Islands. Yeah, it's a
So,
heavyweight bill, my
salute
brother.
A1. Salute.
We
Peace,
got
Salute
peace to
A1.
God, peace,
OG.
peace, brother.
What's going on with it? What you got going?
What you say, AP?
I said, what you got going on, man? You got something?
Nah, I'm listening to the bill, man. You already know, man. I mean, hey, man. I mean, all this information I'm reading in the chat room. Like, all right, let's just understand this, right? Forget everything you think you know. No, everything you think you know. You gotta filter all of the information that been told to you. You cannot go back and regurgitate anything no Europeans say. They don't have accurate numbers of this or records of this. So you can't even regurgitate that shit. But when you hear an opposition to these stories, this is the stuff you should be curious of. Forget all of that. Like I see Donna London in the chat room. She's talking about 1/3 of this and get the fuck out of here. All the slaves were white people. They didn't bring no Africans here. I'm sorry you niggas been duped. And you niggas been taught this. You went to school, you went to college, you done read all these books by this old sophisticated black Boule Mason. You done read all of this material. You done read books from the prefix all the way to the motherfucking index, and you never questioned none of the material. You was proud of yourself after you completed the book, and you still stand on that information that you got from that book, despite the fact that we've been presenting information that you ain't never heard of.
Oh, don't worry,
Facts.
man. This is going to be a part three. It gets even in depth. It gets into
And,
in depth about this particular part of history that gets ignored, and we're gonna get into it, man. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
and people say A1 be arrogant sometimes. Look, man, I mean let me tell you like this, right? I've been humble for a long time, and I've tried not to make it seem like you know, I haven't been one of the people who built this shit right here that we standing on.
Pat,
So I've never came in and oh yeah, I did this. No, I'm only talking about my information. But you people say A1 arrogant. I got a reason to be fucking arrogant, and it
Right.
ain't arrogancy like in a disrespectful way. Because I love all the brothers and sisters. It's only arrogancy when people come and question me. And by the way, right, that comment that was made that I'm the big brother that come in and change the channel. Look, the channel was already set before you got here. So I ain't changed nothing. The channel was already on what we've been doing. So I ain't coming and changed nothing. It's other people coming and changing shit. That's how it really works. I ain't changed nothing. I've been here. And I've been here before some of the other people who came through this shit. So when you talk about this white slavery, put some respect on individuals who put this information out here. Because this is something changed the whole narrative. A year ago,
Facts.
people were saying, "Oh, white people came here and took our land." No, white people came here on ships with chains on. They only was able to take the land after we started to mix in with some of these people. Not even mix in, but we started to procreate with them. So 1 year, I mean, a year and a half ago, I remember I took mental notes of this shit. I was just sitting back with my hand on my chin, like, we could tell who didn't come to class and who not listening, right? But as far as this white slavery and black slave
your
owners,
phone messing up, big bro. It's going in and out. It's
remind
going in and
people.
out. Your phone going in and
You
out,
said
big
my
bro.
phone. Hold up, I ain't even on my phone, man. I'm on my laptop. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's kind of stay, but you
Let me see
good.
Yeah.
something.
Keep it going.
Nah,
Sister Betty in the
AP, like,
building.
you doing the
Shout out
one.
to Sister Betty in the building. And
You
shout out to
doing a
everybody in the
wonderful
building.
job,
I appreciate that, A1, especially coming from you being a pillar in this community, man. A nigga strive to be just as good as you when it comes to the research. So
For sure.
we appreciate that, bro. Real talk.
For sure.
Mm.
For sure.
Shout out to Sister Betty. We got Hawk School on this mother sucker too,
Peace
man.
to the
We hit with
panel.
the panel.
A1, I know you don't. I
Peace,
know you
peace,
ain't talking
peace.
to me. A1. Oh, I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from New Jersey. I pull up. I pull up, no problem. On this end.
You could text me and call me like you've been doing, Sister Betty.
A1.
Yeah.
Okay. I can ask you questions while you on the panel.
Sure.
Okay, so you said that you're not arrogant, right?
No, I said I am arrogant.
Oh, okay. No, because
I
there's nothing wrong with that. It's
emphatically
nothing
say,
wrong.
but
It's nothing wrong with that. I
don't be arrogant towards. I'm only arrogant when I feel like I have to be. When I feel like I'm not getting the respect that I deserve. So
That's
that's
because
when
you want
anybody
control
gonna
of the
get
remote
arrogant.
control, like my brothers.
And
Everybody want the remote control. My brother is just like you, and he admits it.
Sister Betty, I had the remote in my hand for
See,
I had the remote in my hand for a long
see,
time.
I told
I
y'all
was
he got
surrounded.
the
I'm just
remote
telling you, it's a fact. Is that and look. But let's be for
Hey,
real. Let's be
what?
for real about it. Let's be for real. It was. I'm just saying. Look. I seen a whole like. What's that movie called? Inception.
Please don't say Conan
When
and the
all of the
Barbarian.
different. No. Inception. When they making all these universes and parallel universes, I was doing this information, and I just noticed through observation that a whole community popped up, and this is a fact. And listen, like I said, and I'm glad because we need everybody who know about this shit. They have to do their part. But when we start
Facts.
clashing over small shit, is when we take attention off of what we need to be doing. So
Mhm.
that's where I'm at. I bang on Pan Africans like always. I've always been banging on Pan Africans. I only bang on my brothers and sisters in this community when a person force my hand. I'm always approachable. People speak to me. People call me. I'm gentle. I'm humble. I have no problem. Anything that I can help anybody with. So I've always been like that from day one. Always. I've always been like that. But when it comes to information and it comes to crucial information that changes our consciousness, such as white people were slaves here, such as black people were not were slave owners, right? Such as
Mm-hmm.
we had cities, such as we wasn't, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't living
Mm-hmm.
primitive. This is information that everybody can utilize.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. And the more you know
Facts.
about this, the better you are equipped to go against the system. So
Facts. That's true.
that's where I'm at.
I
That's where
agree.
I'm at. Whether we agree or disagree on the
I
more shit,
agree. I agree
let's
with
throw
that
that shit.
totally.
We listen. We agree to disagree on the more shit, Sister Betty. We do this like once
Hey,
every year, every 2
Oh
I
years
my
and
just,
shit.
God, you said
I
the
just
N
Look,
want to
word.
make a
look.
small interjection while y'all dropping it up. Moderators and snipers in the chat, please get the wiping, please. Please get the wiping. Donna to the oblivion, please. I appreciate that. See you in the next
Hey,
life, Donna.
y'all know what I really wish? I really wish this, and I'm serious. Every day, I wish our people could be like they was when Bumpy Johnson was running Harlem. I swear, if our man were like that and get back into that mindset, I don't think we'll have the problems that we have and too much today.
No, you're right. And that mindset came
Anybody
directly.
watching the series of Bumpy Johnson?
Yeah, I watched all of them. And listen,
But
that
they got the
mindset.
newest ones out now. You know that, right?
No, I'm gonna go catch them. I didn't know they had them
Episode
out.
is 3. It's season 3 now.
Okay,
You
yeah, I'm
gotta
gonna definitely
watch
check. I like
all.
Forrest Whitaker playing him too. I like Forrest Whitaker.
Yes,
Oh, he
he's doing
talking
an
about watching
Facts.
excellent job.
Harlem. Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah, but
because
it's
of
so.
it's because
But
of
listen,
crack.
Holding it
Crack
that
down.
fucked us up.
hold on,
Crack baby.
that mind state
Yeah.
came from out of one of the most dire and expressive times from so-called Negroes and indigenous peoples here. It came from a time of Black Wall Street. People like
Yep.
Bumpy Johnson, Frank Matthews, Kenny Atkins, all
Mm-hmm.
the leaders that
Yes,
you hear
sir.
about directly came from Durham and Carolinas, places that was directly impacted with this mind state. And so that mind state of dealing with your people, loving your people, shopping with your people, inspired
Yes.
these brothers. So yeah, that's where we're
Don't
definitely trying
forget
to
the
get back.
business. Don't forget business.
Oh, I
Yeah,
just want
Don't
business as
forget the
well.
serious,
business.
serious.
Because
Most
he
importantly,
definitely
We
the
had
business.
that,
he
but it was
represented himself like
segregated.
a businessman.
Well, like I said, they
And how
use
they dress. They
Look, man.
dress that the boys wore suits every day. They
as a
wore
matter of
suits
fact,
every
Yes.
day.
as a
Hey,
matter of
you
Them
know,
Yes.
fact,
boys was
do
not
you know how
playing,
we
man.
can get back to that though?
hey, the FBI
Do
said
you know
this.
how we
How?
can
But
get
y'all
back to
y'all
that?
talking about a time of Jim Crow and
Hey,
Huh?
segregation
hold
on.
on,
Look,
dude. Hold on. I want to
We
say,
still need
calm
our
down,
men
King
to be
Cash.
like that. Oh, I'm
Calm
sorry,
down,
man.
King Cash. Calm down, nigga. We
Fuck
talking
King
about some
Cass. He
glorious
suck.
shit. We talking about some glorious shit, nigga. The FBI said Frank Matthews was smart enough, intelligent enough, wealthy enough, had the economic business understanding enough to run the world, not just the Americas, but the world. This is
The
documented.
world.
But he poisoned our community though.
No.
Like niggas
So,
was strung
okay.
out on heroin.
Yeah, the drugs did,
My
but
Hey,
God.
listen,
we
now
need our
listen.
men back with the
We
warrior
not
spirits
we're
like
not
that.
gonna talk.
I
Listen,
we
we
can't
all
deal with
gonna.
but
soft
you know
men
what?
like
Let me
you.
say this real quick.
Hold
Let
on,
me
I
say
want to
this
talk
real
on
quick,
that too. I
AP.
want to
Oh,
talk
I'm
on the
Let me
sorry.
say
drugs
I'm
this real
thing
sorry.
quick,
real
right?
Yeah.
quick.
See,
Go ahead, cause I want to talk on that too, for shit show.
Because we can't compare Bumpy
no, I just
Johnson
want to say
and
one
Frank
thing, right?
Matthews.
Listen, if they show, hold up, man, be quiet, man. Damn. Now, if they take this, you know how many Bumpy Johnsons there was throughout America
Right.
that was indulging in legal activity or in how do I want to say activity that benefited us.
Other
You know how many
economic
of them it
gains.
was? But they will never, ever show you this. Now, look, there's a movie called The Bankers, right, with Samuel L. Jackson and my man from Captain America, the Falcon. They ran a bank. Now you know they're gonna throw their spin in it. They gonna put their little spin in it and make it seem like they was working for crackers, right? But nah, that's not what actually was going on. When you check the movie out, they throw subliminals at you that you can pretty much understand. Now I say this, and I'm about to land my plane with this, right? One of the only ways that we may be able to get back to that, it ain't gonna damn sure ain't gonna be within the next 3 generations. I mean, well, maybe so. Maybe it might take place. But if they don't know who they are and they don't understand the importance, because now you got a lot of black people who just, is for, oh yeah, well, I got a market. Yeah, you have to market to everything, but you got to get it back to where that money is circulating within our community.
And
And
like
that's gonna
and
be hard. We're gonna have
And
to.
like I said,
Facts.
it's not hard. It can happen overnight. It,
Facts.
it just take a few good men to take putting in the right position. And I believe that the world is naturally trying to get back to that without having no
You're gonna
organization.
have to go get the Infinity
Hold
Gauntlet
on,
and do the Thanos
yeah,
snap.
and hold on. Cause it's not hard for us to create economic understanding. It's not hard for us to start shopping with us. We got the mind state that has cataloged and corrupted our people just as much as drug or as health has, which is indoctrination. And one of the main tools of indoctrination that they have used to impact our people is in the form of black churches, which goes back to this out of Africa theory, which is a slave victim mentality.
No,
So yeah, ever since
no, that's not true.
hold
No, it
on,
is
Keith,
true. It's very
hold on,
true.
Keith, I'm gonna let
Peace.
hold on, y'all. I got y'all. And so once we get out of that, everybody is not our kinfolk type shit, and we get back to dealing with our loved ones that we can reach out and touch, ones that's actively in our community, the deprived areas that we seen from generations that we at least observe within our own lifetimes. That's how we get back to it. And it can happen really within 1 year. It can happen within one generation. It can happen within just overnight almost for the lack of argument. And we just gonna have to have
Bro, we
brothers
have to
in that
we
position,
have to
man.
change
Why do y'all
our
pick on
mind state.
Africans all the time and Africans
Because,
be minding their
Man, We're not talking about no fucking Africans right now, bro. We
You
ain't talking
black,
about no.
man.
Why you always
Damn.
gotta come in
This
here
not
and
an
bring? And we
African,
talking about
black,
us.
European. Get out of here.
It's us.
Yeah,
We
Hey,
talking
can
about
I
us. We don't. We
clarify
not.
myself,
I'm
Ab
about
We're
Power?
to
not
bait this
concerned
nigga
about none
right
of that.
quick.
Oh,
He's
thank
bullet.
you, because he
He's
just
bullet.
sucks, man. I can't stand black
I
people
be
like
trying to
him.
give these Negroes a chance,
Oh,
but
I can't
they
stand
always
black
show
people like
their
him.
ignorance. They show their ignorance every time, man. They're like literally,
Yeah.
like I don't want to be rude or nasty or belittle anyone, but when we're having a conversation as cordial as it is, even though we have switched from the main topic and we're getting into
Oh, I'm
things at the
sorry.
present time, but it's still a cordial, informational and bill. And when we add in dumb, erroneous conflicts or inserts like "What about the Africans?" Oh, that's dumb insert and it's childish shit, and it shows the immaturity that he has to even to conversate with brothers and sisters like you that's on the intellectual capacity that you're on. So just to have somebody on the panel like that only belittles the conversation that we're trying to have, man. Seriously.
Ab, can I clarify myself about the bumpy thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, so yes, I said I wish that our people had the mindset back then when Bumpy was in power. And okay, Bumpy without the drugs, the attitude, the warriorness for our people. I just strongly feel that if our people had the attitude that they had back then, police officers would be very reluctant to do what the fuck they're doing today. Because you just not gonna pull up on our people like that. You going out. And that's what I mean
Hey, let me
when I
ask you a
say
question
that.
real quick, Sister Betty. Let me ask you a question about that. Through your daily travels, do you come into any contact with the police other than they saying waving at you or saying hi to you?
No, what they do is they're very intimidating on the highway when you have a decent car and you're brown, and they pull all the fucking way up to the back of you, even on a highway. And I know they're reading my plate to see if it's registered. They do that shit all the time. And they're always whiteys that do that shit. I'm
And
not
that's
saying that the
illegal.
black ones don't, but they pull all the way up. They follow you down the street. Like if I'm driving down the street any fucking where, whether it's in a hood or in the or out here, they're following you to see if they get that plate reading. And you know when they got the answer back from the fucking police department because they'll
Let,
turn off down the street.
let-
And me, I'm looking in the mirror like,
let
yeah,
me ask
bitch,
you a
my
question.
shit is registered.
Hold up.
Oh.
Let me ask you towards that, right? So, if you was dealing with that in law, right? If you was to use the Constitution, what part of the Constitution would that reflect?
Well, unfortunately, because I'm a citizen and I have a driver's
No,
license.
no, no, but no, don't worry about that. What part of the Constitution? That would be what? That would be Article 4. You have a right
We
to
Oh,
about to
you
get,
mean
illegal
the Civil
stop,
Rights
searches, and
Act?
seizures, right? And
Correct.
we about to get
Correct.
ready to get out
no,
here
well,
in
no,
like
no, no, no,
5 minutes.
no, no. The Constitution, Article 4. You have a right. You have a right not to be illegal. I mean,
Bill of Right for.
you, you have a right not let the
Your
police
phone
say
breaking up.
anything
Your phone breaking up. But
to anything to you. If you said my shit break, damn,
yeah, your phone breaking up.
you
Yeah.
got some type of sabotage
You
going
talk,
on.
you talking
Nah,
about where they abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens? That one? No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. That's the one he's talking about. I bet that.
we're gonna wait for him to come back. We about to get out of here in like 5 minutes, y'all. So I want to.
Yeah, I'm going live at 6. I waited, but this was a great segment you had. That book, Ab, awesome.
I appreciate it. We'll get into part 2 tomorrow.
Peace to everybody on the panel, and I'm very sorry for being
Oh
long.
man, it was a dope bill. Appreciate you coming on. Love the energy. Shout to everybody in the building. Hawk School, what's up with it, brother?
Tribe, man. I'm just tapping in, man. Peace to everybody, man.
For sure, for sure. Shout out to Hawk School in the building, man. Shout out to Juan Bay, man. I want to be able to give you the opportunity to speak before we get out of here as well, brother. Peace and blessings.
Peace, peace, peace. That's
Juan.
Jawan. That's Jawan. That's Jawan, not Juan. That's Jawan
Yeah.
Utah Beer Bay. I appreciate the beer. Appreciate the platform. I just wanted to share something real quick regarding the topic. It's from a book titled "White Gold: The Extraordinary Story of Thomas Pillow and Islam's 1 Million White Slaves." It's page 18, and it said, "Few in England had any inkling of the fate of captives seized by the Corsairs." So the Corsairs would be the Moors or the pirates. They disappeared without the trace, and the majority were never heard from again. But one of them did manage to get a letter back smuggled to England. Robert Adams, who was seized in the first wave of raids in the 1620s, managed to relay news to his parents in the West Country. Lovage and kind father and mother, he wrote, "I am here near in Sally in most miserable captivity under the hands of the most cruel tyrants." He explained that he had been sold in the slave market soon after being landed in the town and was subject to the harshest treatment by his owner. "He made me work a meal like a horse," he said, "from morning up until night, with chains upon my legs of 36 pounds weighing apiece." Adams ended his letter with a desperate plea for help. "I humbly desire you on my bending knees with the sighs from the bottom of my heart to commiserate my poor distressed estate and seek some means for my delivery out of this miserable slavery." So they got us thinking that we're the ones that are going through this wretched or treacherous times, like they show us in Roots or all these other movies, when yet it was these Ayobos or Europeans that was going through it. So I appreciate the bill and the topic. So, and I yield right there. Also, Hawk School.
Can you please get the name of that book again for us, please?
I got you. All right. Also, Hawk School. Once you change the hawk, put the fez on the hawk instead of the mortarboard, and things will be all good. Well, the book is White Gold: The Extraordinary Story of Thomas Pillows and Islam's 1 Million White Slaves. The author is Giles Milton. So, peace to chat, Islam.
That's a dope correlation to what the topic is at hand. I appreciate that. Drop the name of that in the chat for the brothers and sisters, or in the private. I put that in there for the family. Shout out to everybody. 81, did you make your way back, brother?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, cool. All right.
Who that going back and forth in the chat room?
I don't know who that is. I don't know, but we're out of here, man.
Earth is shaped like a booty. I don't know who the fuck that is.
I ain't even. Where is that at? I don't even see that name.
The Earth is shaped like a booty. I don't know. I don't. This should be some troll shit, man.
I'm bugging. Like I don't even see that nigga
It's
in the chat.
Private. It's in a private. It's in a private.
Oh, that's King Kaz, man. That nigga he a retard. Like, come on, fam. He's a retard, fam.
Yeah, he's a soft little brown guy. That's a little punk. He's scared of his shadow.
She ain't mean it. She ain't mean it with drug dealers and shit. She meant it of us having business.
Don't respond to it. It just,
I'm just saying, even just in general though, not even respond, just in
even
general.
Conversating with an idiot like this takes away value and stuff.
You're absolutely right. I'm losing brain cells by the minute.
Right.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he's a different type of degenerate.
Thanks for pulling me up, man. Next time I'll be more aware, brother. Thank you.
Hey, Ab, I know you going, but I did not know Malcolm X changed his name to El Malik.
Yeah, El Malik Jabaz.
I did not know he changed his name
me.
to El Malik Jabaz when he was in Mecca.
El Malik.
I did not know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He sure did.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this was a great build. Hi, Hawk School.
It was, man. Hey, if y'all enjoyed this live stream, drop a fire emoji in the chat. Really, man. And if y'all ready for tomorrow's part 2, tune in. It's going to be just as much impact, just as much information. Hey, we got some shit locked and loaded for tomorrow. So I want you guys to tune in. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Right? We'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one. All right. So I'll see y'all. Peace and blessings to everybody in the building. We got Eddie Maw in the building. Old Dude in the building. Dan Smith. All right, shout out to Hawk School, Hanu Kiel, and Sister Betty, aka Chief Morning Thunder. All right. Shout out to everybody in the building. If you enjoyed the live stream, let Big Aboriginal Power know. All right. Send in a donation, support the channel. Cash App is at the bottom right of the screen. Big_Aboriginal_Power is on the screen. That's for Instagram. Go follow me on Instagram if you're not following me. Aboriginal Power. Right? You can go follow me at Aboriginal Power on TikTok. Yeah, we getting into the TikTok thing, man. Make sure y'all go follow me over there at goddamn TikTok. Go follow. Just type in Aboriginal Power. You will see the Don. Sister Betty, I appreciate that. Honestly. Make sure y'all support the channel before y'all get out of here. Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. Make sure y'all be safe. Make sure y'all be aware. Make sure y'all stay vigilant. Make sure y'all stay dangerous. So, brother, Aboriginal Power, and we're out. Peace.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up. On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hollering black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. And being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the guards of the gate, so when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
Hey, before I go, man, I want to shout out the people I just seen donated before I leave. I want to shout out the people that donated. Hey, don't miss your chance to support the channel before we leave as well. Make sure you support. Let me shout out who we got in here. Who we got that just supported. Let me shout out to these brothers and sisters. Shout out to everybody that's in the building too, by the way. Drop a fire emoji if y'all still in here listening. Shout out to Barry Clink Scales for the $5 cash out donation. Shout out to Mr. Clink Scales. He said, fire build. Appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate that. Shout out to Rodney O. Lewis. Sent in the $2 cash out donation with the fire emojis, the praying hands, and a 100 emoji. I absolutely enjoyed the build as well, Brother Rodney. I appreciate the cash out donation. Shout out to Clink Scales as well for the cash out donation. With that being said, we out of here, man. I see you on the next one. We out of here. All love.